Hello throttle jockeys. I am super excited about a review and a product overview that I've got for you today. It's a product from Black Widow. If you've got dirt bikes, MX bikes, or little bikes and you need a way to transport up to 2 without the use of a trailer, keep watching. This is a really good product. It's super simple. I'm going to take you through setup of the product. We're going to talk about what is a good fit and good use for this, as well as what's not, what it will work with, what it won't, and I'm going to tell you in a few minutes how you can get a 15% off demo code for this product, which doesn't happen. So keep watching and I'll give you guys that. All that's coming up right now. Okay guys, so a couple things to note as we get started here. Let's make sure that this product is going to work for your vehicle, and to do that we want to check a couple things. This is the Black Widow AMC-600-2, that's the model number, dual motorcycle carrier. It's aluminum, and there are a couple of load limit requirements that I want to make you aware of. First of all, this has a combined maximum load rating of 600 pounds. Now, it's a 400-pound limit per bike. So if you have one bike that weighs more than 400, even though the top limit is 600, it's not going to be a good fit. Second, this will work with a class 2 or class 3 hitch receiver. You want to check and make sure, usually in your owner's manual, that your hitch load rating will work with a 600-pound load if you have a 600-pound load on this ramp setup, right? So obviously you want to check there. If you overload it, that's going to be a very bad thing and it could potentially do damage. So check that. It's usually in your owner's manual. The other thing you need to think about is ground clearance. This is going to extend out pretty high, and you want to make sure that whatever you're putting this on has adequate ground clearance for that, especially as you transition over sloped driveways and changes in elevation and that sort of stuff. You don't want to drag the back of this. That could do some real serious damage. So check those things first. Also, you have a 5.5-inch max tire width that this will accept. So measure the width of your bike tires and make sure that they're going to fit within that 5.5 limitation. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these support brackets. We've got 4 of them. We're going to do 2, and we're going to install them on the outsides of one mount first. And we're going to use the M8x20 bolts, and they look like that. Those are the shorter ones, and I'm going to show you on this where they go. I'm just going to pick one of these 2 and install it on the outside. And these are going to be hand tight, by the way, at this point. So when I say outside, I mean they go on the outsides like that, not on the insides, on the outsides. Just like that. Okay, next we're going to install one of the ramps. Remember that I've got the supports or the braces hand tight for now. They're pretty loose, and the reason for that is to make sure that I get a snug fit here. We're going to set the ramp in between the supports, and there are pre-drilled holes that should line up so that you're centered, and you're going to use the M8x40 bolts. Now these are the longer bolts than we used in the previous step. And you're also going to use the nuts and washers. And these bolts look like this. Obviously they're longer. I'm trying to show it to you there against my pinky so that you can get a reference. And we're going to use 4 sets of these bolts, nuts, and washers. All right, so here's what it looks like up close. See, I've got the bolt on this side and the nut and washer on that side, and you're going to do that in 4 different locations. Okay, once you have all of those done, you go ahead and tighten everything down, including the brace bolts that we put in the previous step. So you're going to go ahead and tighten this whole step. Also note, if you would, that these ramps have different ends, right? So that's intentional. And what you want to do when you install the next set of ramps back here is you want to flip it. So you want the large gap to be on the other side over here on the other ramp, and I'll show you that in just a second. Quick visual here now that both of these ramps are installed. Pay attention to this area here. See that I've got these set up opposite. All right, guys, this is the anti-tilt bracket. Now, what you're going to want to do is make sure you back out these bolts so that they're not obstructing this receiver hole, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide this over the hitch bar on whatever side of this you want to go into the vehicle. And there is only one side that should go into the vehicle. It's the side that has the hitch pin mount on it. Let me show you. Okay, so this is the side that's going to go into the vehicle, and there's two things that'll help you with that. Number one, here's your hitch pin hole. But if we look at the other side, you'll see that it has a stop here, which obviously is not going to allow this to slide into your receiver. So this is our end, and the way that this anti-tilt goes in, the flat side here should go towards the vehicle. So the part that has the cutouts and the curve goes back toward the carrier. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like installed, and I want to show you a close-up of that anti-tilt feature. So I'm going to come grab the camera, give you a close look. First thing you're going to notice, or that I want to call attention to, is that this bracket goes flush with the vehicle hitch receiver, and I've got it loose here to show you that. So you want it up against the vehicle, like so. And then you should only have one bolt, if I can get a focus here, it's that one, touching the actual carrier. The other three, back here, 1, 2, 3, touch your vehicle's hitch receiver. So there's a total of 4 bolts. You want to tighten them evenly, and you want to make sure it's flush. What that's going to do is it's going to pinch this whole thing up, and it's going to keep this from flexing. Okay, there's a couple last additional parts in the kit when you get yours that you're going to notice we haven't talked about yet. Two things. First of all, these are very large bolts. These are small wheel adapters. So these are made to go in that big open side that we talked about in the past. And if you have a motorcycle that's smaller, or a dirt bike, like a kid's bike, and the wheel is going to fall all the way through this opening, you use these bolts to prevent that. So you want to keep these in your toolbox if you don't need them right away, because in the event you're going to be transporting some smaller bikes, you want to have them. And then the other two pieces that you will have is a set of 2 wing nuts and bolts, like this, right here. Look like that. And those are for your ramp. So when you're done loading, you want to take your ramp and you're going to use these 2 holes, and you have the same matching holes on either one of these. So you're just going to attach it to whichever one you prefer. It can go in the brackets here if you like. It can go in the brackets over here. It's kind of up to you. You can put it in the very back if you'd like to do that. I kind of like to keep mine right here in the middle. And then you'll use those wing nuts to attach it and secure it, okay? So that's the final step there. Now, make sure when you get to the next step, which is loading the motorcycles, that you've got some tie-down straps handy before you start the load process. Okay, a couple setup details that are worth mentioning. I'm going to show you how I did this. Now, you can do this different ways. Your mileage may vary. But these are some things that I always try to do with bikes on the back, because let's be honest, nobody wants to look through your rearview mirror and see one of your bikes rolling down the highway behind you, right? So I like to use tire straps for the simple purpose of keeping the bikes from moving back and forth on the carrier. It already sits down in the grooves, but the tire straps will help keep it more permanent. And then of course you want your tie down straps going up to the handlebars or the triple clamps, ideally if you can get it to hook on the triple clamps. And you've got anchor points for those. You've got 4 anchor points for those on the actual carrier itself. I will put a link to all the straps that I like to use in the description, so if you're interested in buying those as well, make sure you check that out. All right, now if you'll notice, I've got a smaller bike on here, and my preference when I load these up is to put the heavier bike closer to the vehicle, so it's the closest one, it's on the inside if you will, and the lighter bike more towards the back. Included with this kit, you will get 2 bolts for smaller wheeled bikes, and if you can get a look in here, you can see that I've got the bolt already installed for the smaller wheel, smaller bike. That you can take on and off, but basically what it does is it keeps this wheel from dropping all the way down in the carrier, and it shortens that groove, if you will, for the front wheel. So you'll get 2 of those. You can use them as you will. You can change them in and out depending on the size of the bikes that you load. Let me show you guys how to load this up. Now, if you'll notice, I've already got the rear bike on, and you can load these independently. You know, depending on the handlebar setup that you've got with the bikes, it's possible to load the outside one first. Is what I'm going to show you here. Is I'm now going to put the inside one on, and I'm going to show you what it takes. Now, this could turn into a blooper reel or a gag reel, who knows? But you don't have to ride these up if you're dealing with a 200-pound bike or less. Especially if you can get it on a level incline, you ought to be able to push it up and muscle it up on there. So let's give it a try. And there we are, minimal groaning out of me, and I was able to get the bike up there all by myself. All right, pro tip time. It would be a really good idea to get your tie down straps already in the neighborhood of where you're gonna want them, which I did, so that you're not playing the, I'm gonna try to balance my bike game while I reach for my straps that I put somewhere over here. So you wanna get those set up and hooked up to your low points first, and then put your bike on. If you are worried about stability, I would say don't be, as long as you get your tie down straps set up properly. You want a little bit of tension on your front forks. You don't want to compress them completely. That would be bad for them if you went over a big hole or a bump. But you want a little bit of compression to just pull it down there, and honestly it's going to hold up just fine. Again, I love the tire straps, but tighten them down just enough, the bike's not going to go anywhere. All right, guys, the moment you have been waiting for. If you want to buy one of these, please consider using the checkout in the description and the code GURU15. That will get you 15% off.
Wait, that is GURU15.
And
here's your hat back.
Thanks. Little tip for you, that will work on anything on the Black Widow site. So you might want to get to that. Thanks to Black Widow for providing the ramp. This was not a paid review, but they did send me the product to review. It's my honest opinion. Now, if you guys have enjoyed this video, if it's been helpful to you, you can show us your appreciation by maybe hitting that subscribe button, and check out our website at partscountergurus.com. You can find our podcast as well as all kinds of other great social content. All of our social links are up there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.
Wait. You have to like the video.
See you guys. Oh, and one more thing. Since people love to steal my hats, you can actually buy these in the... There's a shop link in the video. You can buy them off the shelf. You can also find them on our website. Please, you guys, buy your own hat so that people don't keep stealing mine. That's it.